What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. It seems like every month in the last half of 2017, we've gotten a new project from somebody under the Griselda Records label. Whether it was Westside Gunn, Conway, or Benny, it's been a great year for these three artists. They signed to Shady Records and they have that partnership now, but it hasn't really been fully utilized yet. It still feels like they're moving independently, and I'm hoping that's something that changes in 2018 and with the way that they release music going forward. Conway's latest project is titled G.O.A.T, stands for Grimiest of All Time. So kind of taking a page out of LL Cool J's book, who also had an album titled G.O.A.T, Greatest of All Time, but changing the G a little bit. This was supposed to be a big project for him. I remember seeing on Instagram like he was teasing, this is going to be my debut album, it's going to be this and that, I got records with this person and that person. I can't recall, I think Jadakiss was one of the names mentioned and he's nowhere on the project, and then there was a few others that'll probably be saved for a future project. But I'm wondering what happened. This release really felt rushed. It came right before Christmas, and it's a free release. That's the most baffling part. Now, none of that is to say that it takes away from the quality of the music, because it doesn't. It's just something in my mind that's wondering like what changed between this being a big debut album to now just being another free project. My first favorite song is titled Bishop Shot Steel. Breaking up the millions of ways to shoot you raps that you find on Go is the record called Bishop Shot Steel. This one tackles like real life betrayal, using the movie Juice as like a platform. Like Bishop from Juice, he shot Steel, and it's not a concept like about that, I don't feel. It's more like in a generic way. But it's still great nonetheless. I think it is a different side from Conway, who is, he's someone who is lyrical, but he's also limited in what he says. And that's not a knock on him. That's just the way that he was raised, the way that he was brought up. It's not like his lyrical power is going to like hit a Lupe level or something. It's very limited, but what he does within that limit, within that lane, is why he's so great at what he does. I really enjoyed the production on this as well. It's got that cold weather vibe to it. Like you can feel it in the air. Like this is like something that you would hear before like a big scene. It's like one of those records where, how do I describe it? It's hard to describe. It's just got that cold feeling to it. Something that's like right before a killing. Like that's how you feel. My other favorite song is called Bullet Club. It features Lloyd Banks and Benny. When this record came out, I never did a review for it. I never talked about it. And so I was like, damn, I might never talk about this song on camera. And it's too great to not. So I was happy to see that Conway decided to include it on G.O.A.T. If Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling is supposed to house the elite wrestlers in the business today, then it's only right that the musical equivalent of that has these lyrical powerhouses. Lloyd Banks is someone who doesn't do guest features often, so he got a lot off on this record. He has the longest verse. I'm not sure the exact bar count, but it had to be like close to 32 or something. As much as I praise Lloyd Banks on Bullet Club, you also have to give props to Conway and Benny, because they held their own. Their verses are just a lot shorter. I think if I were to rank, I would probably put Conway's verse at number 1, which is surprising considering how much I like Lloyd Banks. Here's the thing though, Conway has a bit more personality in his verse. With the ad-libs and the way he delivers lines, I mean, his laugh is going to be iconic one day. He has a lot of lines that I feel are a lot more quotable versus someone like a Banks, where His verse is great from start to finish, but I don't feel like there's anything that you would pull out of it and like put it on its own. Like one line that you put on its own. It all works together as a whole. Versus Conway, where he has some, punchlines here and there that you want to like quote on their own. In this day and age, it baffles me to know that an artist would want to put out a free project like G.O.A.T. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Google Play. Like, these are the places that a lot of music listeners, I would say most music listeners, go to nowadays. This is how you get your music discovered, and, playlists becoming a bigger factor than ever. It's kind of like, what do you benefit out of putting a free project out? Yeah, it's on SoundCloud, and a lot of people still use SoundCloud, but I know most people would probably want the benefits of having it on the streaming service that they use. On the other hand, I do understand it though. If you listen to these beats, a lot of the beats that Derringer does, they have samples in them, and you can hear them. And I would imagine that clearing samples is not going to be easy, especially for someone at Conway's level. Now, even though he has Shady Records backing him, it's like, does Shady want to put all the money into clearing these samples, and would it be beneficial for them? Like, would that money come back to them through streaming numbers and sales? I think that's another factor that goes into it. At the very least, I feel like G.O.A.T should be an EP at least. Like, if you couldn't put some of these songs on the streaming services, take the ones that you could. Or have Derringer rework the production. I'm sure there's a way to keep how the production feels and rework it without the samples that are included. Conway is my favorite out of Griselda Records, and G.O.A.T does not disappoint. I felt like it lived up to its title and then some. These bars are grimy and gritty and real New York based. The production is nasty. It's got like a vintage New York feel to it. I think if things go the way that they should, Derringer will be a go-to producer for someone who has like real bars. Like, I could see him getting production credits on like all these different projects, from like a Raekwon to a Royce. Like, the people that are on here that sound good over his production. I could kind of see him being in that similar lane like Alchemist, where Alchemist tends to work with a lot of rappers who can spit tough. I'm excited to see where Griselda Records goes in 2018, where the three artists go. I'm hoping that the Shady situation is one that is lucrative to their growth, and not a situation where they're going to be sitting on the shelf or releasing more free projects. I don't want another like a Slaughterhouse situation where they eventually get an album out and it doesn't do that much and they're eventually shelved. I don't want that for Griselda, so we'll see what happens in 2018. So those are my thoughts on Conway's latest project titled G.O.A.T. After you listen to it, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video, follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. See you in 2018. Peace.